Hi, this is Doug Jefferson. This is my Module 8, Legal Aspects of Teacher Evaluation. So the first article I read was about ESSA, or Every Student Succeeds Act. It ended federal government involvement in teacher evaluation systems. It requires states to develop its own goals, and states may design and implement evaluation and support systems based on multiple measures of educator performance. The second article I read was from Education Week, and it was Teacher Evaluation Heads to the Courts. It was about the litigation that's taking place around the country over evaluation practices for teachers. The union strategies are both procedural and substantive. It's pretty diverse in how unions are going about things. And test scores and tenure are among the reasons for litigation. A lot of teachers don't like test scores of students being tied to their evaluation. And it also listed 7 states and their educational lawsuits and showed some different cases that were taking place there. The third article was also from Education Week, Teacher Evaluation and Issue Overview. Basically, it had 4 topics: why has teacher performance evaluation become such a central education issue? And the main reason for that, I believe, was grants were offered to change the system. And whenever there's grants offered in education, people tend to jump on them. So that's what's happening. Schools are wanting the money, and so they're redoing their evaluation systems to get that money. How do new teacher evaluation systems work? They're more complex than they used to be, and students' grades, like we mentioned earlier, have become a factor in most of these evaluation systems. The third one, how teachers' unions responded to the new evaluations. The volatility of test scores. You don't know if a kid's having a bad day. And there's a multitude of influences and other things that can affect student scores that day or on that specific test. And not all teachers teach subjects that are tested. Some of them just have electives, others are required classes. So not all teachers are being evaluated the same way because some of their kids take the test and others don't. Is there evidence that new teacher evaluation strategies are working? Currently, it is unclear as to whether they're working or not. Alright, the evaluation process at USD 402, which is Augusta. First, we start off with the pre-conference. The administrator will contact the educator and provide a rubric. Certain items will be discussed as to the classes that want to be looked at, when we want to get started on this, when the administrator is available, so just some tentative dates are given. Observation. We receive notice at least 2 days prior to the first evaluation. If you're a first or second year teacher, you get 2 evaluations per semester, no later than the 60th day of the school year. If you're in your 3rd or 4th year, you get 1 evaluation each school year, no later than February 15th. After your 4th year, you receive 1 evaluation every 3 years, and you have a goal-setting conference yearly. And then at least 3 classroom visits of 20 minutes or longer, completing the evaluation form. Most of our administrators, we have block scheduling, so most of our administrators are in there anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes at least. The post-conference, within 2 weeks of the final classroom visit, anything that's marked novice requires a written explanation as to why it was marked that way. The administrator and teacher must sign the form acknowledging that the post-conference took place and content was discussed. The teacher may rebuttal anything that they feel was inaccurate or unfair within 2 weeks. If the teacher receives a report they feel is unsatisfactory in any way, they can submit it to the superintendent for review and consideration. Continuing with the post-conference, the evaluating administrator should provide a signed copy of the evaluation report for the teacher. And then post-evaluation assistance. Conferences may be scheduled by either party to provide the necessary assistance or guidance in improving performance. And evaluation of the instrument. If all this goes through, then an evaluation instrument committee shall be established. They'll review the evaluation criteria and see if any changes are needed for the way teachers are evaluated, or if we need a new module to evaluate from. And then finally, if things still aren't settled and both sides aren't happy, we have the AEA, the Augusta Education Association, which is just a local chapter of the NEA, and we have a representative in each building. So then the educator could go to the representative and find out what steps need to be taken next, if it needs to be a lawyer or where they need to go with it. The court case I chose was the Louisiana Federation of Teachers versus Louisiana. The foundation of it was, in 2012, a law tying teacher evaluation to tenure and pay violated a constitutional provision. The result of this was a state court ruling initially let it stand, and then in 2013 a second review struck down the law, and then the following year in 2014 the state Supreme Court reversed the lower court's ruling. So it's been back and forth in that court case. And my reflection, after going through all these articles and reviewing our evaluation process, and you start to realize that there's no accurate way to evaluate teachers. The assignment we did previous to this one was about evaluation as well, and things we weren't happy about, which no one's always happy with every aspect of their evaluation, but really there's way too many variables in the classrooms, whether it be a certain student having a bad day, whether it be the teacher having a bad day. You know, if you're evaluated using numbers, if you're evaluated from novice all the way up to exemplary. You know, and some people say you can't reach exemplary, so there's always something to work on. But need to work on improving teachers. A lot of these court cases were based on tenure and possibly trying to get rid of teachers or getting teachers out of classrooms. With as many teachers as we have retiring, and then the amount of people getting out of education after a year or two, I personally believe that we need to find ways to improve what teachers we have and not find ways to get rid of them. We need to retain them. We need to keep them in the classroom, because in the future, who knows what it holds. But with fewer and fewer people going into education and more people retiring, it's going to get messier than it already is. So that's my presentation for Module 8. Thank you.